Hello to our freaky family. I'm Michelle.
And I'm Kandi.
And this is Sips of Crime. Hello!
Welcome back.
Welcome back, everybody, to Sips of Crime, your favorite true crime podcast.
I hope you guys are recovering from the last episode. Because that one I still have questions about.
Yeah, that one was definitely a rough one, but you know, it was a good one. It needed to be done, and it's off the list. We got through it. We did it,
and I didn't have to do it because I don't like clowns.
There you go.
So, how have you been?
I have been good, just working a lot. Obviously, as I had told you guys, my wedding season is in full swing. So we're just, working through that, staying busy. What about you?
I'm good. I did, however, look at my house today, and I'm really considering hiring someone to come in and deep clean, spring clean my entire house. I mean, I do like I do the normal weekly stuff, but sometimes every 2 weeks. But it's just a lot. And
it is. A good deep clean is something that, How
am I supposed to have time for that?
Nobody has time for that. And you would be supporting a local business.
Exactly.
So I say go for it.
Yes.
100%.
I'm going to look into it.
Yes.
For sure.
You should.
For sure.
So, Kandi, what are we drinking today?
We are drinking a wine called Mischievous Matcha. Is that how you say that? Matcha?
Hold, please.
Macchia. Okay. So it's Mischievous Macchia.
Ooh, sounds fancy.
Well, it's an Old Fine 2020 Zinfandel.
Mm-hmm.
It is 15.5
Shoo-wee!
alcohol by volume. Zinfandel was introduced to California during the gold rush in the 1850s, with many old vineyards still producing excellent wines. This mischievous blend comes from several of the historic vineyards which produce rich, ripe berry flavors, highlighted with soft vanilla oak.
Ooh.
And it's bottled in California.
Cheers.
That is not a Zinfandel. That's a lie.
A Zinfandel is actually a red grape.
Well,
most of the pink Zinfandels that
I don't even like those. I think they're too sweet.
Oh, a Zinfandel by nature is normally a drier. It is a dry. It's a very dry red.
It is.
Very similar to a Merlot.
Yeah. No. Negative.
We all know that Michelle likes the red ones.
You do.
I do.
I do like some, though. I have been very surprised.
You have been getting out of your comfort zone a little bit, and that's, that was one of the fun parts about this podcast.
I just can't.
Try it again.
All right, second taste ain't that bad.
The second one's always better, especially with your reds. You have to kind of let them aerate a little bit, and you have to sip them differently than
every time we do a red, nobody should listen to my first reaction. Just go ahead. If you've been listening to previous episodes, just anytime we have a red, just wait for me to drink a few.
And always make her take a second sip.
It's really not that bad. It's not.
I like it. I like it a lot.
It's good.
Mischievous.
It is.
So today's episode is Kandi-centric.
It is.
You've got a story for me.
I do. It's not as intense. I mean, it's intense. By all means, it's a crime story. But it's not as long as your previous one.
Okay.
So I did a suggestion from Melanie Lawson.
Another suggestion. We love listener suggestions. You guys send those in. You can send. Sometimes we'll post like a little poll or something on Instagram in our stories. But even if you don't see one of those posted, DM us a suggestion. We do add them all to a list. You can also email us at
sipsofcrime@gmail.com.
Yep. And we love, we want to give you guys what you want to hear. So, if you have a suggestion, send them in. We're happy to add them to the list.
So it's the Old Salisbury Road shooting.
Ooh, is that local?
We're about to find out.
Oh, okay. Grab a glass.
Grab a friend.
And let's dive in.
Michael Charles Hayes was born on January 13th, 1964, and raised in Winston-Salem, which is in Forsyth County, North Carolina.
It is local.
After beginning to use drugs at the age of 13, Michael became known for bullying and boastful behavior, which was probably fueled by mental illness and drug abuse. After bouncing from job to job, Michael began to work at a business called Edwards Moped Shop, which had been purchased by his parents and was located on Old Salisbury Road in southern Forsyth County.
So his parents owned it?
Yeah, they bought it.
Okay.
And it was also close to the Davidson County line. So, right there on the border.
Mm-hmm.
After being at the business for several months, his parents found out that he was stealing from the business and threatened Michael that they would sell the business and stop supporting him.
Oh, my.
Which I feel like is reasonable.
Yeah.
Michael apparently had been a mean person his entire life. He was said to have killed pet cats and once hurled a dog out a window of a speeding car.
Oh, gosh. Why do we have to bring the dog into it? There is no reason.
Right.
I think that it's, there's 3 factors, and I don't quote me on this because I obviously didn't do the research. I'm just spouting this out from general knowledge, but I think there's 3 things that can identify a sociopath early on. One is abusive animals, wetting the bed, setting fire, and head trauma, I think.
It's just
some combination of those, I believe, is like points to like the early signs of a sociopath, and like
right.
a lot of
in a lot of the research we do, the earlier childhoods do have a lot in common, unfortunately.
Well, I mean, there's just no possible way that, I don't know if we've covered really anybody that we can honestly claim came from just a great background. I mean, and I'm not saying that people who come from terrible situations all grew up to be serial killers, and I'm not saying that everybody who has a great childhood, doesn't. But, I mean, there's just these kids who grow up in these situations, they literally just have no chance.
Right.
So, it sounds like his parents, though, are trying to support him and trying to get him on a straight and narrow. And he's over here hurling dogs out the window. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Well, and I'm sure beginning drug use at age 13 is not...
That's going to fuck up anybody's brain. Your brain's not even done developing. Why are you introducing all these terrible toxins
13.
so early?
I was in middle school when I was 13.
I didn't even know what drugs were when I was 13. Well,
I mean, I did because I did the DARE program. But
yeah, thanks to DARE.
D, I won't do drugs. A, won't have an attitude. What's the rest of it?
I don't know the rest of it.
Hold on, let me think about it. Hold on. Let me think about it. Hold on. D, I won't do drugs. A, I won't have an attitude. R, I will respect myself.
Ooh.
E, I will educate me now.
There you go.
Don't ask me how I remember that.
Way to go. Applause to all.
No.
Do you still have the shirt?
No, I don't. Unfortunately, that would be great. I don't know why I can remember that, and I can't remember last week. But whatever. Okay, so...
Moving on.
Back to Michael Hayes. On the night of July 17th, 1988... after Michael had been showing signs of unstable behavior for a few weeks, along with multiple police reports of concern regarding his behavior, Michael, who was armed with a .22 caliber rifle, began waving down traffic on Old Salisbury Road and shot 9 people who were simply passing by the road in front of his parents' moped shop.
Just out of nowhere?
Mm-hmm, out of nowhere. 4 of those people who were shot: Crystal Suzanne Cantrell, she was 16. Thomas Walter Nicholson, 24. Melinda Yvonne Hayes was 21. And Ronald Lee Hull, which was 32. They died. And the other 5 were wounded.
Oh my God.
Then complicating the matters, since the moped shop sat right at another county line, this led to confusion as to which law enforcement agency had the jurisdiction.
No, we can't work together. Why would they work together?
Are you kidding me?
Like, just
one of each go.
4 people are dead, but it depends on whose job it is.
And let's not, the other 5 that are injured.
Yeah, that's
We're
fine.
just, somebody take it.
Yeah, whoever wants it, coin toss. It's ridiculous. Both of you should go.
Right. Send a few of
both,
each.
and determine the jurisdiction later.
Right. Well, finally, A Forsyth County deputy shot him to stop the madness. Michael was not killed and was only wounded in the leg, back, and groin, which landed him in critical condition at Baptist Hospital.
Wow.
Michael would later testify that his actions were because he believed the people were demons that needed to be killed. Quote, I thought they were demons. I recognized them because they had red, sunken eyes, and they had a sulfuric stench about them, like they came up from the pits of hell, unquote.
No, we're definitely seeing that mental illness coming in here. Wow.
Right.
Hallucinating,
And who knows if he was, it never said.
Drug-induced.
Right.
Yeah.
It never said if he was on drugs then, because I read so many articles about it. But it wasn't our older stories, that have more information and stuff. Mm-hmm. Michael's stepfather said that family members tried to have him committed to a mental hospital after he broke one of his hands beating a wall, but the hospital worker who treated him declined to commit him.
Again, this is a family member who knows him better than you do.
Right. I feel like if...
Have him checked out. What's it going to hurt? Have him checked out.
At least do an evaluation.
Yeah, if the psychiatrist determines that he doesn't need to be, committed, then great. But let's
do a little
professional.
something.
I think that it's probably just a good idea to have him evaluated. Let's put him with the professionals.
Right. And I'm sure there are protocols that you have to follow
like a
to
checkbox.
Get that. Yes. And I get that too. But there's got to be something you can do if a family member's like, hey,
this is a problem.
We need to do something.
Yeah, we're concerned about this, legitimately concerned.
Something could be done.
Yeah.
You gotta, something.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't work in the hospital, but something.
Yeah, I agree.
So Michael's trial began in Forsyth County on March 27th, 1989, and the scene became a media circus, resulting in difficulties to seat an impartial jury. He was charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder, 5 counts of felonious assault with a deadly weapon, and 2 counts of assault on a law officer. The jury ended up reaching a verdict of not guilty by reason of insanity. Many people in the community and the state were outraged.
How did he get that?
And there he is.
Ugh.
Yeah.
How did he get that defense if he was not evaluated?
I don't know. I can't answer that because I think I read, I want to say 10 plus articles. And some of them were just straight news articles.
Right,
hey,
a lot of them
happened,
are very vague.
But there was nothing that was... There was another podcast, but I didn't have time to listen to it, and I do wish I would have. I probably will next week. But they might have found some other stuff, but I like to listen to the podcast after.
I always do the same thing.
Because I don't want to take any information away from another podcast.
Yeah, one of the things that I do during my research is, especially if there's other podcasts, because, we should be using them as a resource. It's not like we're stealing their material. The story is what the story is. And I think that the more people that tell the story and get it out there is what all of our goals are as true crime podcasters. But I do the same thing. I do my research first. I have everything in there, and then I'll go and listen to a podcast or two if they have one out about the, particular incident that I'm doing. And I've already had my research done. And then if they have anything to add to it, I might go in and input a note here or there. But I'm the same way. I don't normally listen to the podcast until after I have finished.
But the reason I didn't listen to it, because I knew I would go off to see where they were located, because you don't hear much about...
Not from around here.
Forsyth County kind of thing. So, I will let you know
when
I do the research, and we'll bring it up at a later time.
Maybe we'll shout them out.
There we go. So, some victims did put out a statement or do interviews, like Adam Hull, who was only 8 years old when his family was stopped by Michael by gunpoint.
Oh my God.
His mother was wounded but survived, and his father, who was Ronnie Hull, was fatally shot. His mother, Darlene, would later testify that Michael had the gun pointed at her son when deputies opened fire, wounding Michael, and finally ending the spree.
Oh my gosh.
But when one of the assistant prosecutors tried to say that in defense, Michael thought he was on a mission from God, and that's when the jury was reminded of the swearing repeatedly that he did. Darlene stated, quote, "How many times did he take the Lord's name in vain? He yelled, 'Roll down the GD window, you mother effer,' at least 3 times," unquote. Of course, Adam was traumatized by the tragic event and suffered from PTSD for 16 years. Adam finally found God and was able to let go of the hatred that was tearing his life apart, along with overcoming the PTSD.
Oh my gosh, poor sweet baby angel.
At 8. I could not imagine.
Old. God, that is a year older than my daughter.
The father of Crystal Cantrell, who was 16, describes how his daughter was shot 5 times and stated, quote, "He messed her up so bad we couldn't even kiss her goodbye," unquote. The parents of Tom Nicholson said he should be behind bars for the rest of his life. He should be sitting on death row now, says Tom's mother.
So it's not like he just walked out in the middle of the road and started shooting at passing cars. He gunned these people down.
Yeah, to stop them.
Yeah, he stopped them and then went, oh my.
At the age of 25, Michael was committed to the Dorothea Dix State Mental Hospital in Raleigh, North Carolina. At Dix, he was given Haldol, a drug often used to reduce aggression and treat schizophrenia. A psychosis went away, and Michael went off the medication.
Oh, good.
Since then, he's not had to be on medication for his mental illness, which can't be good.
No, that's
right.
No,
I mean,
if you, I don't believe that mental conditions are cured.
But
medication helps, and
if
you
it
should
helps,
continue to take it.
We should still take it.
Yeah, we should stay on that.
You would think. Well, he didn't. Michael would have yearly petitions to be set free, and they were usually met with a protest from the victims' families and, of course, media scrutiny. There was an incident that would later be considered discounted evidence, in where Michael got upset and angry with his job supervisor over his co-worker's premature disposal of coleslaw from the hospital grill, where Michael was employed for a bit.
You gonna get that mad over some coleslaw?
Yeah. I'm assuming that was premature disposal was thrown in the trash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What an eloquent term for throwing something away too early.
That's what I thought too, but
premature disposal of coleslaw.
Apparently you should not have thrown the coleslaw away that early.
Prematurely.
No, not okay. So, he also met his girlfriend, Brenda, while he was there, and within a few months, the two got married.
Wait. He met his girlfriend, Brenda, where?
At the Dorothea Dix State Mental Hospital.
And they got married? Did they get married?
A few months.
After a few months in the hospital?
It didn't specify. She was convinced that he was sane and finds it hard to believe he was ever capable of such rage.
Has she spoken to any of the victims, maybe?
She said when she met Michael, the thing that stuck out to her was how tender he was and the look in his eye.
Oh.
Michael did give a description of his day at the Dorothea Dix in a past show. He stated he sleeps until noon, gets up, showers, has lunch, and then goes to the gym to shoot baskets. Then some days he goes on a nature walk. He also let the show know he sleeps with a large stuffed bear that is similar of Brenda. So here's your sign for the hospital.
So ultimately, he's really just kind of allowed to do whatever the hell he wants.
You're going to find that out here shortly. Here's a picture of the hospital.
Where is this located?
Raleigh.
Oh, that picture is more creepy.
Yeah, it is. I'll send it to you.
I bet his victims would really like to take a nature walk.
They probably would.
Sleep with a bear.
As a result of the public outrage from Michael's verdict, the NC General Assembly has made a few attempts to change the law regarding verdicts of not guilty by reason of insanity. The most notable attempt came in 1998 when a handful of Republicans, outraged by the news that Michael had fathered a second child while apparently in custody at Dorothea Dix, they attempted to introduce a bill that would change the insanity verdict to guilty but insane. And such change would allow for incarceration rather than the release and following psychiatric treatment. So, guilty but insane, you're going to jail.
Right.
You're going to be incarcerated.
But treated.
But, yes, but with the...
Insanity. By reason of insanity, you're going to a hospital.
Not guilty by reason of insanity, you're just going for psychiatric treatment.
Wow.
Yeah, ain't that crazy?
Now this is something that they did pass? Or they wanted to pass? I'm sorry.
No, you're okay. They attempted to introduce a bill that would change the insanity verdict to guilty but insane, and the such change would allow for incarceration rather than the release following psychiatric treatment, which is what he got.
So this is something that's already in place?
Yes.
Okay. I did not realize that there were two different guilty pleas.
I didn't either until I read that.
Interesting. Okay. So they were trying to change his... Okay, gotcha. Yep. I'm with you.
So, the area of the killings has transformed from a rural to a suburban area, with additions of shopping centers and subdivisions in the years since then. The building that was the moped shop was actually demolished in the late 1990s to make way for a construction waste landfill. Attempts to erect a memorial to Michael's victims near the site have been unsuccessful. In September of 2007, Michael was again in the media spotlight after he was revealed that at Dorothea Dix Hospital, they had allowed him to leave the hospital to work at a gas station in the Raleigh area. The gas station fired Michael after receiving anonymous threats of firebombing the store or killing Michael while he was working. So to answer your question, yes, he was able to go out and work.
So he's allowed to sleep until noon, take nature walks, go get a job, father children. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
Well, then at one of the petition hearings, 7 psychologists and psychiatrists who have cared for Michael testified that Michael should be released from custody.
Oh, good.
Carl Knudsen, I think that's how you say that, stated, quote, "He is completely cured. He is a much wiser, more mature, more stable person now than he was, even 5 or 10 years ago. For the last 20 years, he hasn't been on any kind of psychoactive medication and has really shown signs of shown signs of any mental illness for, I would contend, at least 15 years, unquote. On September 27, 2007, Michael was denied release by Judge Stephen Baylog, despite testimony from all the psychiatrists regarding Michael's mental stability. But on May 13, 2010, so, 2.5, 3 years later, Baylog ended up signing an order for the conditional release of Michael. And on March 1st, 2022, at the age of 48, Michael was completely free for the first time since 1989.
That was just a couple of months ago.
Yeah. No. 2012.
Oh, you said 2022.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh.
You said March of 2022.
Oh, no. No. He did have conditions, and the conditions included submitting to random drug tests and searches, along with attending Alcoholics Anonymous. He also cannot own any guns and cannot go out of Forsyth County or the state.
Uh-huh.
This was him at 48.
Huh.
So Michael had plans to move to Wendell to live with his girlfriend and their 2 children, which is mentioned.
Oh, so she got out too?
She worked there.
Wait.
It didn't specify.
I was about to say, did I miss that when you originally said it?
Nope, it didn't specify. I took it as she worked there.
I took it as she was another patient.
Then I might have to look it up, because it never specified.
Okay, so everybody's out. 2 kids are just blossoming, and he's now been released to live with them.
Yeah, which to mention, and to clarify, he was granted privileges to spend as much time away from Dix as possible. So he got unsupervised visits for up to a week with his girlfriend and children, which is how I assume he had his children. And of course, the working at the gas station. Apparently, in an article from May 18th of 2010, Knudsen, one of the psychiatrists, stated that he has been out in the community and really, for the last several years, mostly what he's been doing was what he was doing in the hospital.
Sleeping till noon, taking nature walks, sleeping with a teddy bear.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Family members of the victims think that he should still be in custody, and one of the family members, Linda Cantrell, who was the 16-year-old daughter's mother, She told Winston-Salem Journal that he had never been punished for what he did.
No, he absolutely has not.
He went to a psychiatry or a mental hospital and was able to do whatever he wanted. Jeff Parks, who was 52 at the time when he was interviewed, stated that he's lucky to be alive. He was one of the 5 who were shot and wounded. The events of that night remain vivid in his mind, and he still can't stop replaying them in his head. Still remembering how Michael looked, Jeff was driving his 1970 Ford Torino and saw a parked car with its headlights on. Shining at the moped shop, Jeff was a mechanic and slowed down to see if the man needed help. He turned down the radio and heard Michael yell, quote, "Do you want some of this?" unquote, and began firing at Jeff. Oh my God. Jeff said he didn't understand the question at the time, but it didn't take long to figure it out. A bullet entered Jeff's left upper lip and came out behind his right ear. Once he was shot, Jeff stepped on the gas pedal as hard as he could and then looked in the rearview mirror and saw Michael shoot at another car. Jeff drove to the Griffith Volunteer Fire Department on NC 150, which was just down the road from the scene. He states he's never gotten back to himself physically from where he was. He has false teeth due to what Michael did. Jeff even states that he doesn't trust anyone anymore and will never stop to see if someone needs help on the side of the road.
No, you can't.
Right.
And neither do I.
Right.
Which is terrible and sad, because I'm a good person and I want to help people.
No, I'm not stopping on the side of the road.
I'm not going to stop and help you. I can't.
He also said that if he sees Michael out walking the street, he's going to kill him because he has to assume he's armed with a weapon and is going to try to kill him, and he has to protect himself.
Sure.
In an article published in March of 2012, the Winston-Salem Journal states that Michael is no longer under any court supervision, and according to all reports, Michael has been fully compliant with the conditions in his release, and the therapist recommended termination of these conditions that they log out that he put in place so that he can leave, he can do whatever. And then the mental hospital was abandoned in 2012.
Abandoned? Mm-hmm. So ain't nobody there no more?
Nope.
Do we know why?
When I read one article because I wasn't trying to go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Because that was going to be a whole nother story.
Abandoned mental hospitals is a whole nother story.
Right, and I was looking for some pictures too. No, it said something about, I think it was like funding and stuff, but I wasn't trying to go down that rabbit hole.
Wow.
Yeah, so, not long, short, but
still.
Yeah. And just the fact that it was close to home.
Yeah, so close to home.
Crazy.
Gosh, that's awful. And I think that this really does just go to show that, I'm not saying that people with mental illness, mental disabilities, mental health issues, should be maybe treated and punished the same way that just hardened criminals should be. Because it is a different situation, you have people like our last episode, John Wayne Gacy, who just woke up and was like, I'm going to kill people today.
Right.
And even though he was diagnosed with multiple personality disorders, there was still a lot of premeditation there. He knew, and then you have people like, this person who obviously was, mentally unstable and obviously having drug issues, all which probably led up. And, I think that with the proper care and treatment and, the correct amount of medication, that those people are probably a fairly low risk of reoffending.
Agreed.
But
when your family is telling the hospital to do something.
Exactly.
And you don't.
And then this happens. And then years later, you have all these doctors who didn't come to your aid in the beginning. Right. Are now saying, oh, he's cured. He's good. We're going to let him.
You only took your Haldol for a few months.
Yeah, it's just.
And it suppressed your symptoms and all is good. No, yeah. I don't believe that at all.
And the problem is, what the people who really are hurt in this situation obviously are the victims and the victims' families, because I can guarantee you that somebody's coming up to you and saying, oh yeah, the person that killed your wife or your, daughter or your son or your, who killed your family member, they didn't mean to because they were mentally unstable. That gives me no reason to think that they, get any sort of closure or any sort of peace of mind because of that. And you should still be held accountable for your actions. You know?
I agree. No, I mean, I don't agree with not continuing his medication, whether you think he's cured or not. I don't agree.
I wasn't under the impression that mental illnesses like that could be cured.
I thought it couldn't.
I mean, and maybe this is just something that we're naive to, but
maybe. But
I thought that if you were a schizophrenic.
But I thought you had to take the medication, and the medication would help your symptoms.
That's what the medication does. Yeah, it helps the symptoms.
But when
it doesn't cure you. That's what I'm saying.
It's going to come back.
Yeah, schizophrenic, people who have, bipolar, multiple personalities, like all of those things, none of that has ever, to my knowledge, been cured.
Not that I'm aware of.
You just take medication to control it and
to go about your everyday life.
Your everyday life, to normalize and stabilize yourself. So,
again, I am no doctor.
Well, that was crazy. I had never heard that story, and with it being so close to home, I'm actually really surprised that I haven't heard it. So thank you, Melanie.
Yes.
For your suggestion.
Hope we did it justice.
Yeah, hope we did it justice. And again, continue to send those in. And to bring us up on a lighter note, because we always like to end these things with happier or funnier things, something a little bit more uplifting to bring us out of the slump that these stories take us into. I think that Kandi has a little something to end our episode with.
So, here is a wine trivia.
Ooh!
I'll ask some of these.
Okay. Is it an actual quiz? Like, do I get to answer? Like, do I get multiple choice? Mm-mm. No. Okay.
So, what type of French wine is typically made from Pinot Noir grapes?
Pinot Noir is a wine in itself. Like, you can buy a Pinot Noir.
It says Burgundy, specifically red Burgundy.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
What is the most widely planted grape in the world?
I am going to say a Merlot.
Close. A Cab Sav.
Oh, that
with more than 700,000 acres worldwide.
I should have known that. You're right.
How much wine is in a standard bottle?
750 milliliters.
You got that one right? What's the biggest kind of wine bottle?
Is it asking me for an actual, measurement?
It does have a measurement, but there is a name. I've never heard of this, so.
I'm assuming that we have one sitting in front of us.
No, we don't.
No? Okay, this larger bottle, which is the...
How many liters is that one?
Yeah, I was just getting ready to say, this one is... So your standard one is 750.
Mm-hmm.
This one is 1.5 liters. So your standard wine bottle is 750 milliliters.
Mm-hmm.
This one is 1.5 milliliters, which is the larger bottle that you can just buy in stores.
Yep.
Ask the question again, please.
What's the biggest kind of wine bottle?
Oh gosh, I don't know. So we're not talking standards here.
It's called the Nebuchadnezzar. And it holds 15 liters of wine.
Wow.
That's equivalent to 20 regular bottles in a single huge bottle.
That's a lot.
How many grapes does it take to make a standard bottle of wine?
I'm gonna go with I don't know, 700.
About 200.
Oh!
2.5 pounds of grapes.
Okay. Less than I thought, really.
On average. How much wine does an acre of grapevines produce?
How much wine does an acre
of grapevines?
Of vines? I'm going to say a case, which is 12 bottles.
800 gallons of wine.
Not a case. More than that.
A lot more.
A lot more than that.
How much is in a wine barrel?
I don't know.
I don't either. It's 60 gallons. Fun fact, there's 126 gallons in a buttload of wine.
In a buttload. That is the actual precise measurement. A buttload.
How long after planting is a grapevine ready to make wine?
Oh, gosh. I'm going to say 5 years.
Yeah, it takes 3 to 5 years for a grapevine to start bearing fruit that can be made into wine.
Yeah, that's why vineyards that we go to, like, they always say, like, oh, yeah, we just harvested, like, our first, but they've been open, they've technically, they've been open, not open, but they've been for so long.
What does non-vintage mean?
Non-vintage? I don't know, current?
Non-vintage wines are blends made of grapes from several different years.
Oh, good Lord.
How old is the oldest winery in the world?
Well, we just got finished saying that the oldest bottle was, like, from BC. I'm going to go with... Apparently, I don't know as much about wine as I thought I did.
These are, like, facts.
These are really hard. Yeah, these are really hard trivia questions.
The oldest winery uncovered so far dates back to 4100 BC. It's located in Armenia.
Sure.
What colors can wine be?
They can be red, white, pink. Is there a fourth? There's 5. Okay, red, white, pink, and I'm saying pink as in like rosé. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's the same thing. Yellow.
No.
Kind of, which would be a white. I don't know what the other 2 colors of wine is.
Orange and blue.
Who has had some blue wine?
I guess blueberry wine.
That ain't really blue, though. That's red.
I don't know. I've never really seen blue wine. So.
I've never seen blue wine. I mean, I've seen a red wine that was made with blueberries.
How much wine is consumed throughout the world each year? 24.7 billion liters.
Billion liters. I love it. Well, that was actually a lot of fun. I enjoyed that very much.
Whoop, whoop.
We hope that you guys also enjoyed this episode. Thank you guys so much for tuning in again, and we appreciate you guys so much. Oh, and we never ever said thank you so much for 3,000 listens.
Yes, thank you so much.
At this point, we're probably well over that, but we really we're tickled to death, and we're just really in awe of just the support that we've gotten from each and every single one of you guys. We really couldn't do this without you. And we do it for you guys, but we also do it for ourselves, which is a lot of fun. So it's just been just a crazy ride, and we're just so happy that you guys are along for it. So thank you guys so much. Again, keep those suggestions coming. Share us with your friends. Give us a 5-star review. It helps more than you know. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!
Bye!
You can join our freaky little family both on Instagram and Facebook and find all of the featured photos from this episode
at Sips of Crime.
For a chance to have your story featured on one of our future episodes, send us a Gmail
to sipsofcrime@gmail.com.
And you can find all of our episodes wherever you get your podcasts. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, we would really appreciate you giving us a 5-star review because it really helps other people find our podcasts and our episodes. Thanks for listening. Stay alive.